Dads and supports people, welcome back. This topic video will be about how to find the best expert witness for your case. Excuse my hair, it is having a bad hair day, but who cares, because you're not here to look at my looks or judge my looks. You're here to listen and possibly learn about some stuff that you would find useful, or you might find useful. You might think that what I'm saying makes absolutely no sense, or it might make sense to you. You do you, boo, okay? But here are some insider tips as to what you should do when you are looking for an expert witness. They're also called family consultant, they're also called child expert, and they're also called family report writer, okay? I'm talking about Australia here, so I work as a father's rights defense coach here in Australia, and I've got all the inside tips of what lawyers won't tell you. Now, the first thing, I got my little, list here to keep me organized. Okay, the first thing is seeking out the correct expert witness. Okay, we'll call it expert witness. It's I like call them family report writers. Okay, that is as simple as Googling their name. Okay, so start Googling names and then actually look in LinkedIn or look further and see what their background is. Okay. Now, here are the backgrounds of child experts or family report writers that you should watch out for. If she's a woman and her background is child protection or social work or mental health, stay away. Okay, stay away from those family, consultants or those, family report writers or expert witnesses. Stay away from those. Okay, why, you might ask? Well, because in child protection, they are pro-mum, okay? And in the mental health industry or in the mental health sector, they see a lot of men, commit a lot of atrocities against women and then, then get off on it because of their mental health. And so obviously, these women see a lot of, the worst part of society and the worst part of men, right? They see the worst men. And so they have a very narrow view of the world, okay, when it comes to being a family court expert. They usually will always believe the mother, and they will, even if they don't believe the mother, they will, make out that the child needs to be with the mother more than the father, okay? So that's social worker, child protection worker, or worked in mental health, or if they worked in domestic violence, a big no-no for dads, right? So do that. A simple Google search of the name and just look further into LinkedIn or other areas or what practice they're in. They usually have a little bit of a biography of where they've worked, okay? Family court experts that you would probably consider are psychologists, okay? So clinical psychologists, the psychologists that have been doing psychology for 7 years. Those ones, those ones that took almost 7 years to be a psychologist. They are going to be more objective, okay, and it will say that they would also say that they worked in family courts. Okay, they work with their family courts and they're a psychologist. Those are going to be more objective. Okay. The second thing is when you're paying. Okay, if your lawyer tries to tell you, or the courts try to tell you, that you should pay for the whole thing, honey, don't do that. Pay for half. Okay. A lot of dads, especially the ones that are cashed up, seem to think, with their arrogance, that if they pay for the whole, report, that they're going to get a good report because, well, they paid for it, right? Surely they're going to give me a good report. That is ego, and that is the wrong type of arrogance. I mean, most arrogance is the wrong type of arrogance, but that is the wrong type of arrogance, because what happens, in my experience and what I've noticed, okay, or what I've seen and witnessed, is that those experts, whether they have a background in, social work or, domestic violence, or whether they have a background as a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, no matter what, those experts are usually more critical of the person or the parent that has paid for the whole report. The reason for that is because they can't look like they're favoring, right, the person that paid for the whole thing. So they're usually more critical. And then dads, get the report and go, oh my God, I paid $12,000. I paid for the whole thing. and they were more critical of me. Like, what the hell? I got jabbed. I got jibbed. I got scammed. And I'm like, why did you think you were going to get, favored, or because I paid for the whole thing? I'm like, that is arrogance, honey. You should have paid for half. Or you should have, got the courts to assign one. All right. Now, the other thing is, okay, be very wary of consultants or experts that your lawyers advise you on. If your lawyers are saying, we know this great, family consultant, you're absolutely going to love them, right? They're going to be great. That is when your alarm bells and your red flags need to go off. They beep, 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 like big alarm bells. In my experience and what I've witnessed is that though the lawyers that say go for this one, right, has backfired immensely. Now, the simplest thing that you can do is what I said at the beginning. Okay, number one, Google their name. If they say, oh, we've got this, expert, it's highly recommended, our firm always uses it, oh my God. And then you go, okay, cool, give me her name or his name, and I'll do, I'll let you know. I'll call you back and I'll make a decision. Google the name. It usually is social worker, domestic violence worker, all that kind of stuff. Big no. All right. Now, the other thing is, well, the blah, 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 disciplinary actions, positive testimonials. There was something else that I was going to say. Okay, let me just remember one second. My mind just went blank. Okay, I remembered. Now that is when you are preparing to speak to the child expert, okay, it starts from your first affidavit, okay? A lot of dads will call me and say, hey, can I have a coaching session with you before I go into speak to the family consultant? Is there anything you can tell me? I'm like, yeah, of course. I can definitely do that. And we'll definitely go through the things that they're most likely going to ask you and how you should answer those, correct? But I'll also tell them that it starts from the beginning of your case. Because the child expert's job is to read everything that has been uploaded to the courts, including subpoenas. Now, sometimes I don't have access to the subpoenas, so you need to make sure that you request that your lawyers and her lawyers and the ICL, that the child expert, that if you guys are paying top dollar for a child expert, that the child expert have access to those subpoenas and that they look at those subpoenas and you give them time to look at those things. Okay? Now, as I was saying, they look at all of the things that you have written. So if you're the first thing they look at is the way you've written those affidavits. If your affidavits were X-focused, affidavit number 1, affidavit number 2, affidavit number 3, if they were all about you telling the courts all the truth that you know about your ex, which is pretty much you talking shit about your ex, guess what? It's not a good look for you. The child expert is going to be like, this guy is obsessed at getting back at his ex. There's not much focus about his kids here. Now, that is also a problem with lawyers. Lawyers will allow you to do that each and every day because the more conflict that you portray, the more conflict that you insert into your case and into your affidavit, the more money they get. So in your affidavit, a very, very simple way for you to make sure that your affidavit is not X-focused, okay, and that it's child-focused, is that you go onto your Word document, because obviously you're on your Word document, and obviously you've given yourself plenty of weeks to create an affidavit. You didn't just do it the night before your lawyer told you to hand it in, right? Right? So you go into a Word document, you go to the search bar, and you type her name or you type mother in there, and if it comes up more than 20 times, okay, your affidavit is X-focused and you need to change it, okay? If her name or mother comes up more times than your children's names, you are X-focused. You need to change your affidavit because the report writer is also making decisions and making judgments about you based on what you've written on your affidavit, not just what you say in the consultation. Okay? All right. I hope that helps. We're almost at 10 minutes. I will be uploading more videos as much as I can, and I'll be coming out with some digital products that I reckon you'll love.